CQ, calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thank you for joining us. It's Sunday the 26th of May and here's the GB2RS news broadcast prepared for you by the RSGB and available to all radio amateurs and listeners. And you can also find this bulletin on the RSGB website, which is rsgb.org, and along with links to groups and organisations that may be mentioned in this broadcast. This week's news headlines. The RSGB's Exam and Syllabus Review Group is looking for new volunteers. A successful date and hamvention was had by the RSGB representatives. And a new format of the RSGB Discovery Scheme has been launched. The Exams and Syllabus Review Group is looking for new volunteers. Its task is to approve the new direct-to-full syllabus and to set questions for the new exams in September, which will cover the latest licensing rules. The group meets online every Tuesday between 3 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. with members of the Exam Standards Committee, and meeting times can be changed to suit everyone. You need to be a full licence holder. You also need to be a member of the RSGB, plus you'll need a few spare hours each week. You can shape the future as we move to Syllabus 2.0 in 2025, and to volunteer or to find out more, contact the ESRG chair, who is Andrew Lenton. You can contact him on his email address, which I'll spell phonetically for you. It's Echo Sierra Romeo Golf Charlie Hotel Alpha India Romeo @rsgb.org.uk. Members of the RSGB team, including RSGB General Manager Steve Thomas, M1ACB, and the RSGB President John McCulloch, Gi4BWM, had a successful time at the date and hamvention last weekend. The event was a great opportunity to meet radio amateurs from around the world, and it resulted in 132 people joining or rejoining the RSGB. Podcasters, YouTubers and local news outlets attended the event, including WHIO, a local US news channel which interviewed RSGB President John McCulloch, Gi4BWM, and this was shared on local TV news, radio and online. Plus, Josh from Ham Radio Crash Course did a live stream to his 346,000 YouTube subscribers, including a chat with RSGB General Manager Steve Thomas, M1ACB, and the RSGB President. And you can find these clips on the RSGB Notices section of the RSGB website. A new format of the RSGB Discovery Scheme has been launched. It's now called the Discovery Logbook, and there are fewer requirements, a clearer program and exciting links with external organisations such as Parks on the Air and Worked All Britain. There are also some great RSGB awards for you to win in your own programme of activities. The RSGB hopes that these links will help radio amateurs to discover new ways to enjoy the hobby with guidance and support from experts in those fields. There are 3 levels, and the first of these, called Explorer, has just been launched, and to see the programme, activities and to find out how to get involved or to talk to the Society about linking your organisation with the Discovery Logbook, you can visit the RSGB website at rsgb.org/discovery. British Science Week is an annual event run by the British Science Association, and it celebrates science, technology, engineering and maths. The event will take place this year between the 7th and 16th of March. In fact, it's next year. It's the 7th and 16th of March 2025, with the theme of Change and Adapt, which is an ideal theme for amateur radio in the 21st century. It aims to encourage new radio amateurs into the hobby, and the RSGB will again provide resources and activities to inspire people of all ages to get involved. And the RSGB is collecting ideas for activities for schools and the wider community. The 2025 theme stimulates creativity and discovery in all areas of the hobby, and the Society welcomes your ideas, so please do send them in to Ian Neal, Mike 0 Kilo Echo Oscar. His email address is bsw, that's Bravo Sierra Whiskey for British Science Week, at rsgb.org.uk, and you can find out more at rsgb.org/bsw and britishscienceweek.org, and British Science Week is all one word. And now we have details of rallies and events. The popular electromagnetic field event, also known as EMF Camp, takes place between the 30th of May and the 2nd of June. The event is a non-profit camping festival for inquisitive minds with over 3,000 people, including scientists, engineers and radio amateurs, expected to take part. The event is held in Herefordshire, and for more information you can visit the event website, which is emfcamp.org. Gisborough and District Amateur Radio Club is organising a mini-D expedition to the Isle of Lewis in Scotland from the 22nd to the 29th of September. The team has a couple of spaces left and welcomes amateurs from other clubs who would like to join in. And for more information you can email m.dutton@virginmedia.com, and Dutton is spelt Delta Uniform Tango Tango Oscar November. Durham and District Amateur Radio Rally will take place on Sunday the 26th of May at the Boburn Community Centre, Boburn in County Durham, and the postcode is Delta Hotel 65 Alpha Tango. Doors will open shortly at 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and there is early entry at 10 a.m. for disabled visitors. Entrance is £2 and there'll be a bring and buy sale, trade stands, special interest groups and an RSGB bookstall with catering and a licensed bar on site. If you need more information you can contact Michael, G7TWX. His phone number is 07826 924 192, or you can email DADARS, that's Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra, at gmx.com. That's Golf Mike X-ray.com. Spalding and District Amateur Radio Society's annual rally takes place on Sunday the 2nd of June, and this year the event is at the new venue of Spalding Rugby and Football Club. That's in Centenary Park, Drainbank North in Spalding, Lincolnshire, and the postcode to help you find it is Papa Echo 126 Alpha Foxtrot. The event will feature free on-site parking, inside and outside traders, an RSGB bookstall and an outside boot area. Entry is £3 per person, and for more information you can visit the event website, which is Sierra Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk/Spalding Rally, and Spalding Rally is all one word. The Junction 28 Radio Rally is coming up on Sunday the 9th of June. That's at the Alfreton Sports Centre. Postcode is Delta Echo 557 Bravo Delta, and that's about 1 mile from the Junction 28 of the M1. The doors will open from 10:15 a.m. and admission is £4. And if you need more information you can visit the event website, which is Sierra November Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Charlie.com, or you can contact through email. The email address is Juliet28 Romeo Alpha Lima Lima Yankee at snadarc.com. And the Work Tool Britain Awards Group will hold its 2024 AGM from 12 p.m. at the event, and if you can't attend you can actually join online via Zoom, and to get login details from the group secretary you can email Mike1 Alpha India Bravo at worked-all-britain.org.uk. And now we have the special event news. Hull and District Amateur Radio Society is running special event station Golf Bravo Hotel 0 Uniform Lima from the 31st of May to the 2nd of June. The station marks 100 years of amateur radio in Hull, and it celebrates the 95th birthday of the honorary club member Bernard Atkinson, Golf 0 Sierra Whiskey Oscar. Listen out for operators on the HF and VHF bands using SSB, FT4 and FT8. Special event stations Charlie Sierra 2 Golf Papa Delta X-Ray, Charlie Romeo 2 Golf Papa Delta X-Ray and Charlie Romeo 3 Golf Papa Delta X-Ray are active until the 31st of May, and that's to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Portuguese DX Club. The station will operate on all HF bands using SSB, Morse code, FT8, FT4 and RTTY. You can QSL via Logbook of the World only, and for more information of certificates and trophies which are available, go to the QRZ.com website and look up Charlie Sierra 2 Golf Papa Delta X-Ray. And now we have the DX news. Martin, Mike Whiskey 0 Bravo Romeo Oscar, is active as Zulu Charlie 4 Golf Whiskey in Dipole in Cyprus, and he'll be active until the 27th of May. He's operating Morse code only on the 40 to 6 meter bands, and you can QSL via Mike Whiskey 0 Bravo Romeo Oscar. He'll upload contacts to Club Log and Logbook of the World. Rolf, Delta Oscar 4 Romeo Kilo Romeo, is active as 8 Quebec 7 Kilo Romeo from the Maldives. That's IOTA reference Alpha Sierra 013, and he'll be active until the 31st of May. He's working with 30 watts and is operating SSB on the 10 meter band only. You can QSL via Rolf's home call D04RKR or direct or via the Bureau. And now we have the contest news. The CQ Worldwide WPX Morse Code Contest started at 0000 UTC today, and it ends at 23:59 UTC. Sorry, it started at 0000 UTC yesterday, Saturday, the 25th, and it ends today at 23:59 UTC. Using Morse code on the 160 to 10 meter bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is signal report and serial number. Also today, the UK Microwave Group High Band Contest runs from 0600 to 1800 UTC. Using all modes on the 5.7 and 10 GHz bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. On Tuesday the 28th, the SHF UK Activity Contest runs from 1830 to 2130 UTC. Using 2.3 to 10 GHz bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. On Thursday the 30th of May, it's the 80 meter club championship, which runs from 1900 to 2030 UTC. Using Morse code on the 80 meter band, the exchange is signal report and serial number. National Field Day starts at 1500 UTC on Saturday the 1st of June and ends at 1500 UTC on Sunday the 2nd of June. Using Morse code on the 160 to 10 meter bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is signal report and serial number. The UK 6 meter group summer contest starts at 1300 UTC on Saturday the 1st of June and ends at 1300 UTC on Sunday the 2nd of June. Using all modes on the 6 meter band, the exchange is signal report, serial number, locator and membership number. The ARRL International Digital Contest runs from 1800 UTC on Saturday the 1st of June until 23:59 on Sunday the 2nd of June. Using digital modes, excluding RTTY, on the 160 to 6 meter bands, the exchange is your 4-character locator. On Sunday the 2nd of June, it's the UK Microwave Group Low Band Contest, which runs from 0900 to 1500 UTC. Using all modes on the 1.3, 2.3 and 3.4 GHz bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. And now we have the radio propagation report, which was compiled by G0KYA, G3YLA, G4BAO on Wednesday the 22nd of May 2024. After the unsettled HF conditions on the 10th and 11th of May, it was good to see things return to normal last week. The KP index is back in the range of 1 to 4, and with a solar flux index in the 190s, we've seen some good propagation around the world. But make no mistake, it probably won't last. Active region 3664, which was the source of so much mayhem a couple of weeks ago, will soon return from its trip around the Sun. It has probably been the source of a major flare while on the Sun's far side, and there is a good chance we may get a repeat performance of last month. Make hay while the sun shines. NOAA predicts that the solar flux index will rise above 200 next week, but unsettled geomagnetic conditions are forecast for the 27th of May into early June. Daytime critical frequencies have been 8 to 9.3 MHz, making 40 meter a good band for inter-G contacts. The maximum usable frequency over a 3,000 kilometer path has often exceeded 24 to 27 MHz, making 12 meters a viable band for DX. This can be a little patchy, so if you don't hear anything on 24 MHz, just wait a while or check a little bit later. Nighttime critical frequencies are around 6 to 7 MHz, with 20 meters generally open all night with occasional openings on 17 meters as well. And we're now well into the sporadic E season, so there should be lots of short skip into Europe on the 12 and 10 meter bands. And now we have the VHF and up propagation news, which was compiled by G3YLA and G4BAO. Well, the lead up to Bank Holiday weekend shows a low, with thundery rain moving north and leaving behind an area of low pressure, which is building a weak ridge over the country. Most of next week will have a slack westerly pattern, with weak fronts brushing past. From midweek and towards next weekend, the frontal systems will be more active, with longer periods of heavier rain possible. The result for most VHF and up operators is that there may be some tropo events, especially overnight, during the slacker period, with the weak ridge over the country by the start of the weekend. More likely, though, rain scatter will produce better scattering from the large summer raindrops, and thundery developments are becoming more common. Check the many online weather radars for beam headings. Meteor scatter will also be worth considering as we approach the period when many lesser showers will raise the background meteor count. This will not only be useful for meteor scatter operators, but also serves the sporadic E folks well. Solar activity continues to deliver random events which can raise the KP index, and remember that a KP index above 5 indicates the chance of auroral propagation. The main mode at this time of year is sporadic E, and late May to early June is often regarded as a peak time for monitoring your favourite VHF beacons. The 10 meter band is a useful starting point to identify the beginning of an opening, and then check the higher bands as the event strengthens, and this is often indicated by the skip distance shortening on the 10 meter band. Another operating tip is to use the daily blog on the propquest.co.uk website for commentary on the effectiveness of the various upper air patterns such as jet streams, which can influence the location of where sporadic E propagation occurs. There are no major meteor showers this weekend, so in between the sporadic E, look around dawn for the best random meteor prospects. Saturday the 22nd had the lowest moon declination of the month, so next week we'll see lengthening moon windows. EME path loss is falling, but we are still over a week from perigee, which is the time when the moon is at its closest to the Earth. 144 MHz sky noise starts the week high and reached over 2500 Kelvin on Saturday the 25th, and it will remain low for the rest of the week. And that's all we have from the propagation team this week. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain, and this service is being brought to you by amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire. Next we have the local news, and please note that details of all RSGB affiliated clubs and societies can be found on the RSGB website, and that includes email addresses and website links where we know them. We'll start off with news for the Midlands, and meetings of the Bolsover Amateur Radio Society take place on the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays of the month, starting at 8 p.m. at the Bainbridge Hall in Bolsover, and the postcode is Sierra 446 Papa X-Ray. Bromsgrove and District Amateur Radio Club meets every Friday from 8 p.m. Members also have a regular coffee morning on Wednesdays in the club shack starting at 10:30 a.m. Then on Monday and Wednesday evenings there are nets on 145.375 MHz and they start at 7:30 p.m. Burton Amateur Radio Club has open nets around 145.575 MHz at 10 a.m. on Sundays and 8 p.m. on Thursdays. On Monday there'll be slow Morse code exercises on 14.055 MHz from 11 a.m. and the club meets every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Central Radio Amateur Circle has a net on 145.575 MHz from 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday and from 12 p.m. on Saturday, and the group will be having a Google meeting at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Cheltenham Amateur Radio Association has daily nets on 145.4 MHz at 8:10 a.m. On Tuesday they have a slow Morse code session on 3540 kHz and up. That starts at 8 p.m. Then on Wednesday they have a net via the Golf Bravo 3 Golf Charlie repeater, and that also starts at 8 p.m. And then on Friday there'll be a net on 144.350 MHz from 8 p.m. And the club's website golf5bravokilo.uk is available if you need more information on the club's activities. Dudley and District Amateur Radio Society meets every Tuesday from 6 to 10 a.m. at the Wrighton Mill. That's on 59 Vale Street, Upper Gornal in Dudley, and the postcode is Delta Yankee 3 X-Ray Foxtrot. Gloucester Amateur Radio and Electronic Society has an informal net every day on 145.475 MHz FM at 3:30 p.m. Then on Monday, members meet at Crickley Hall for a direction-finding activity, and on Wednesday they have a net from 7:30 p.m. on 145.475 MHz FM. On Thursday they have another net on that frequency at 7:30 p.m. and they then move to 80 meters SSB later on. Then on Friday there's a net on 432.220 MHz SSB from 7:30 p.m. And next Sunday, the 2nd, the Society will be visiting the Wooferton transmitting station. On Wednesday, Hinckley Amateur Radio and Electronic Society is meeting at Burbage Infant School. Kettering and District Amateur Radio Society has a breakfast meeting from 10 a.m. on Sundays, and on Tuesday they have a club meeting from 7 p.m. Then on Thursday, their club net is on 145.300 MHz at 7 p.m. On Monday, Leicester Radio Society will meet at its HQ and via Zoom from 7:30 p.m. and on Thursday the club will meet from 10 a.m. Lincoln Shortwave Club will meet at the BSA Village Hall from 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday and from 7:30 a.m. on Saturday. Then on Thursday they'll have a net via GB2RS, or if the repeater is busy they'll meet on 145.350 MHz. And for more information on the club, visit their website, which is golf5foxtrotzulu.co.uk. On Tuesday, Loughborough and District Amateur Radio Club will be operating portable from Wymeswold, and that's subject to the weather. On Tuesday, members of the Malvern Hills Radio Amateurs Club will hold an informal meeting, and then on Wednesday they'll get together on the club's net, which is on 145.350 MHz at 8 p.m. On Wednesday, Midland Amateur Radio Society is holding an open meeting and running training classes. On Thursday, members of Northampton Radio Club will enjoy a direction-finding activity at the Grangewood Club, and for more information visit the club's website, which is Northampton Radio Club, all one word, .co.uk. On Monday, Nunsfield House Amateur Radio Group is having a shack night and a club net on 145.3 MHz from 8 p.m, and members will meet for a natter night on Friday. On Monday, RAF Waddington Amateur Radio Club has a net on 145.325 MHz from 7:30 p.m. They have Morse code practice at 8 p.m. on 144.085 MHz on Wednesday. And later today, the club is operating using special event call sign Golf Bravo 6 India Bravo Charlie. That's from the International Bomber Command Centre in Lincoln, and that's during the centre's 50s and 60s weekend. Members are operational on the HF bands using voice and some Morse code, as well as FM on the 2-meter band. So listen out for the station between around 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Rugby Amateur Transmitting Society has weekday nets at 8:30 a.m. on 144.275 MHz USB. They also have training and practice Morse code nets on Monday and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on 144.275 MHz. They start off with USB and then move across to Morse code. The Society will also meet from 8 p.m. on Tuesday and from 2 p.m. on Saturday at the Borton Lee 12th Rugby Scouts Hut. Then on Friday they have a net from 8 p.m. on 1913 kHz. That's 1913 kHz. Members of Salop Amateur Radio Society are meeting for a club night on Thursday, and to find out more about the club, visit their website, which is salopradiosociety, all one word, .org. On Thursdays, Solihull Amateur Radio Society has a net around 145.450 MHz from 8 p.m. South Birmingham Radio Society has an open club night on Friday from 7:30 p.m. and that's actually every Friday. Visitors are welcome to attend the Society's Tuesday coffee morning. They start at 10:30 a.m. On Tuesday, South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group has an open net on 144.225 MHz SSB. That starts at 7 p.m. and members will have a club evening from 7 p.m. on Wednesday, and Friday sees a net on 70.425 MHz from 7 p.m. South Normanton Alfreton District Radio Club is not meeting on Monday as it's a bank holiday, but on Tuesday the club has its net around 145.450 MHz from 7 p.m. On Sundays, Stafford and District's Amateur Radio Society has a net on 145.375 MHz. That starts at 8 p.m. and on Wednesdays the members will meet at Wildwood Community Centre from 8 p.m. Stourbridge and District Amateur Radio Society meet at the Norton Snooker Club from 8 p.m. on Mondays. Also on Monday, Stratford upon Avon and District Radio Society have a net on 145.275 MHz FM, and that starts at 8 p.m. On Monday, Sutton Coldfield Amateur Radio Society will meet at the Pavilion. That's on 9 Openfield Croft in Water Orton, and that's from 8 p.m. On Wednesday, Telford and District Amateur Radio Society is meeting to discuss John, Mike Zero X-Ray Juliet Alpha's trip to Antarctica and to make preparations for the 6-metre trophy and National Field Day. On Saturday, Welland Valley Amateur Radio Society will be active as Golf X-Ray 4 Whiskey Victor Romeo, and members will operate from a local bunker to practice for the next Bunkers on the Air event. Wolverhampton Amateur Radio Society meets every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Wednesfield and Wood End British Legion. Then on Sundays they have a net around 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. and you can get more information on the club's activities at their website, which is wolverhamptonars, all one word, .co.uk, or at Wolves ARS on social media. On Tuesday, Withell Radio Club will be meeting at Withell House from 7:30 p.m. and next Sunday the 2nd, the club will have its net on 145.225 MHz from 7 p.m. And now we have news for the South East and East Anglia. On Wednesday, Bishop Stortford Amateur Radio Society has its net from 8 p.m. on 145.5625 MHz, and everyone's welcome to join in. Bracknell Amateur Radio Club has a net via the Golf Bravo 3 Bravo November repeater from 5 p.m. on Sundays, and Wednesday sees a net on 145.375 MHz FM from 8 p.m. On Tuesday, Braintree and District Amateur Radio Society will hear a talk by Tim, Golf 0 Juliet Mike Tango. The talk is called Radio at Sea, and it will take place at the Society's clubhouse and via Zoom, and starts at 8 p.m. On Wednesday, Bromley and District Amateur Radio Society have a net starting on 145.5 MHz from 9 p.m. And for more information on the club, visit their website, which is bdars.wordpress.com. Burnham Beeches Radio Club has its net from 10:30 a.m. on Sundays, starting on 145.5 MHz before moving to 145.275 MHz. Bury St Edmunds Amateur Radio Society meet at the Rougham Tower Museum on the third Wednesday of each month. It's a small but very active club, and they have club nets every day of the week except Sunday. You can find details on the club's website, which is Bravo Sierra Echo Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk, and the club's general chat frequencies are 144.7375 MHz FM and 433.400 MHz FM. On Sundays, Chelmsford Amateur Radio Society has a Morse code net on 144.060 MHz. That starts at 8 p.m. And on Monday, they have a Morse class from 7:30 p.m. around 3542 kHz, which is followed at 8:15 p.m. by GB2CW slow Morse transmissions on 3555 kHz. On Tuesday, there'll be an open net from 3756 kHz from 8 p.m. and on Thursday, there'll be a Morse code class via Skype from 7 p.m. On Tuesday, Chippenham and District Amateur Radio Club will meet from 8 p.m. and for more information, visit the club's website, which is chippenhamradio, or one word, .club. On Monday, Colchester Radio Amateurs Club has an open net on 433.4 MHz from 7 p.m. and on 1.920 MHz lower sideband from 8 p.m. Then Wednesday's net is around 145.350 MHz from 7 p.m. and on Thursday the net is on 3.685 MHz from 7 p.m. And on Friday, there's an open DX net on 14.125 MHz with assistance on 145.350 MHz, and that starts at 2:30 p.m. On Sundays, Coulsdon Amateur Radio Society has nets on 145.4 MHz from 11 a.m. and on 3.7 MHz from 5 p.m. Then on Wednesday, they have a net around 70.425 MHz from 9 p.m. Crawley Amateur Radio Club will meet from 11 a.m. on Sunday, 8 p.m. on Wednesday and 2 p.m. on Friday. Cray Valley Radio Society's 2-metre and 4-metre nets are held on 145.350 MHz on Sundays at 10 a.m. and 70.425 MHz on Fridays at 8 p.m. Then they have a top band SSB net which moves to AM. That's held on the first Monday of each month around 1.905 MHz at 8 p.m. and everyone's welcome to call in. On Wednesdays, Crystal Palace Radio and Electronics Club have a net on 145.525 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Saturdays the club has a net on 51.550 MHz FM, and that's from 8 p.m. On Sundays, Darrenth Valley Radio Society has a net on 145.475 MHz at 8 a.m. Dorking and District Radio Society has a net each day from Monday to Saturday on 144.775 MHz FM at 10 a.m. Essex Ham has a net on Monday via Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha, that's from 8 p.m, and they have chat room and audio feed at essexham.net. Fareham and District Amateur Radio Club will meet on Wednesday, and the club will be active for National Field Day next weekend. And for more information, have a look at the club's website, which is fareham-darc.co.uk. On Monday, Farnborough and District Radio Society will visit Farnborough Donkey Derby, and the Society will be active for National Field Day next weekend. And for more information, visit the club's website, which is farnboroughradio, all one word, .org.uk. On Sundays, Felixstowe and District Amateur Radio Society have a net on 145.400 MHz from 10 a.m. and on Wednesday their net is via the Golf Bravo 3 India Hotel repeater, and that's from 7:30 p.m. On Thursday, Fort Purbrook Amateur Radio Club has an open net which starts on 145.275 MHz at 7:30 p.m. and then moves to the Golf Bravo 3 Sierra Hotel repeater at 8 p.m. Then on Friday, members will meet at FP1, and that's from 7 p.m. On Tuesday, Harlow and District Amateur Radio Society will have a technical evening, and on Wednesday they have a net on 145.425 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Then on Friday, the Society will meet from 8 p.m. and visitors are welcome to attend. Hastings Electronics and Radio Club hold a daily net on the GB2RS repeater at 10 a.m. and they also have a Morse code net on Monday nights at 8 p.m. on 144.575 MHz. The Morse code net is aimed at anyone new to Morse code or who wishes to brush up their Morse code skills, and non-members are welcome to take part as well. The net is then followed by general conversation. Then on Wednesdays, usually at 1 p.m, members meet up at various locations in the area for an afternoon of portable operating on both HF and VHF using SSB, Morse code and FM. And once again, non-members are welcome to take part. The details do vary each week, so it's a good idea to visit the club's website on the Wednesday morning to view up-to-date information about the location and time of the meeting. And the club's website address is hastings-electronics-radio-club.com. Hog's Back Amateur Radio Club usually meets on the second and fourth Mondays of the month at the Crondall Scout Centre. That's on Pankridge Street in Crondall, and there'll be no meeting tomorrow, the 27th, and that's because it's a bank holiday. On Sundays, Hornington District Amateur Radio Club have a Morse code net at 9 a.m. around 1950 kHz, and then they move to SSB at around 9:30 a.m. They also have an 8 p.m. net, which is on 433.450 MHz, and on Monday they meet on 1950 kHz from 7:30 p.m. And then the net moves to 145.375 MHz on Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. On Sundays, the Isle of Wight Radio Society has a net via Golf Bravo 7 Papa Oscar and Golf Bravo 7 Mike Tango from 8 p.m. The Society also has a net from Monday to Friday via the Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey repeater from 6:15 a.m. And on Tuesday, the Society takes part in the Bramble net, which again is via the Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey repeater and is from 7:30 p.m. Then on Thursday, there's another net via the GB3IW repeater, followed by a Zoom meeting from 8 p.m. And on Fridays, members meet at the Haylands Farm in Ryde, and Foundation and Intermediate Licence training is also available at those meetings. Loughton and Epping Forest Amateur Radio Society has a net on Wednesday from 8 p.m. on Brandmeister DMR Talk Group 23511. On Thursday, they have a net from 8 p.m. on 144.725 MHz FM, and on Friday, members will meet at All Saints Church from 8 p.m. to listen to a talk by Dave Cutts, M0TAZ, and the talk is entitled The Advantages of Going Portable. Lowestoft District and Pye Amateur Radio Club has a net on Sundays on 433.575 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Tuesday they have a net on 145.475 MHz from 8 p.m. and the club will meet on Thursday from 7:30 p.m. Then the final net of the week is on Friday, and that's on 51.490 MHz from 8 p.m. The Martello Tower Group has a net night every Monday evening at 8 p.m. via GB3CL, and on Sundays the group has a net via GB3CE, and that's from 8 p.m. Medway Amateur Receiving and Transmitting Society nets take place each weekday from 9:30 a.m. on 144.650 MHz. On Friday, Mid-Sussex Amateur Radio Society will hold a direction-finding event. The activity will begin at the Millfield Suite in Cypress Hall. The postcode is Romeo Hotel 158 Delta X-Ray, and that all starts at 7:15 p.m. Norfolk Amateur Radio Club have a net via GB3NB every Monday from 7:30 p.m. and that's followed by a Morse code net on 3.543 MHz at 8:30 p.m. On Thursday, Shepparton District Amateur Radio Society will be listening to a talk by Steve, Golf 4 Hotel Papa Echo, well known for his Work to All Britain activities and for being the manager of the GB2RS news team. His talk is on the subject of a sound engineer's perspective. Steve was a sound engineer with the BBC for many years and has many an interesting tale to tell. For more information about the society, visit their website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk. There you'll find information on how to get to the society to hear Steve's talk. On Wednesday, Southdown Amateur Radio Society is having a cafe morning at 12:15 p.m. This will be followed by a net via the Golf Bravo 3 Zulu X-ray repeater from 2 p.m. Stevenage and District Amateur Radio Society meets every Tuesday evening from 7:30 p.m. at the Stevenage Resource Centre. That's on Chells Way in Stevenage, and the postcode is Sierra Golf 2 0 Lima Tango. They have free tea, coffee and biscuits available for everyone attending. A club net is also usually organised each Tuesday evening from 8 p.m. on 145.450 MHz, with another net on Thursday evenings on the 80 metre band close to 3.727 MHz, and that's using the club call sign Golf 3 Sierra Alpha Delta. You can find more information on the club's website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.com. On Sundays, Surrey Radio Contact Club has a net on 1.905 MHz at 9:30 a.m. Monday has a net on 3.710 MHz lower sideband from 9 a.m. On Tuesday, the net is on 51.550 MHz from 8 p.m. Wednesday's net is on 28.078 MHz JS8 from 10 a.m. Thursday's net is on 70.3 MHz from 8 p.m. On Friday, they have a D-Star net, which is on 144.6125 MHz from 7:30 p.m. And finally, an FM net on 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. On Monday, West Kent Amateur Radio Society has a net on 145.375 MHz from 8 p.m. and the net moves to 28.730 MHz from 11 a.m. on Saturday. Weather permitting, Worthing Radio Events Group will be operating special event station Golf Bravo 8 Oscar Foxtrot Papa. That's for the anniversary of D-Day on the 6th of June. The special event station will be adjacent to Ferring Pillbox on Patterson's Walk in Ferring, West Sussex. Operators will be working on the 80, 40 and 20 metre bands using SSB and possibly Morse code, as well as the 2 metre band. For more information, visit the Worthing Radio Events Group website. Well, that ends this week's GB2RS News broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham, G4JBD in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. The news was compiled by the Radio Society of Great Britain, who represent amateur radio and radio amateurs within the United Kingdom and internationally. If you have a news item to share, please email it to us as far in advance as possible for inclusion in the GB2RS news broadcasts, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send your news to the editorial team, whose email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk, and the RSGB will retain the copyright over the material transmitted. You can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. And you can also download the full schedule of GB2RS broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. GB2RS is not licensed for two-way traffic, but I will be pleased to take your calls and any reports or queries using my call sign Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta. So we wish you 73 from the GB2RS news team, hoping you have a lovely Sunday and a great week ahead. And this is G4JBD, now listening for any calls.